They had the engines, the looks, and the hype, but they couldn't win over riders. These are the 7 motorcycles American dealers are trying to dump as soon as possible. Whether overpriced, misunderstood, or just too heavy to love, these bikes never had a chance, and now they're being cleared out. Number 7. Kawasaki W800. This is a bike that seems like it should have carved out a special place in the retro motorcycle scene. It certainly looks the part, with a silhouette pulled straight from the 1960s and design cues that echo British icons like the original Bonneville. But that aesthetic charm has not been enough to save it from fading into dealership limbo. This is a motorcycle that appears to be made for enthusiasts, yet fails to offer the thrill, power, or name recognition buyers expect in this price range. The W800 is powered by a 773 cubic centimeter vertical twin engine. It puts out a modest 47 horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque. These numbers might work for a Sunday cruiser or a city commuter, but for riders looking to feel something when they twist the throttle, the W800 comes up short. It lacks the urgency and character of other bikes in its class. There's no strong low-end pull, and the mid-range doesn't deliver the kind of experience that would make someone want to own it for the long haul. The price also plays a part in its downfall. With a starting price of $9,099, the W800 ends up dangerously close to motorcycles that deliver more performance and stronger brand appeal. The Triumph Bonneville T100, for instance, sits just slightly above it in price, but offers more torque, sharper handling, and that unmistakable British branding that turns heads and carries value. Even bikes like the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, which come in at thousands less, offer a comparable or better experience for riders chasing the retro dream. Another issue is the W800's weight and feel. Tipping the scales at 496 pounds, it is not exactly light. Combine that with a slightly awkward riding position and dated ergonomics, and you have a machine that feels like a vintage bike without offering the fun of riding one. Most buyers in this category want a blend of form and function, a classic look with modern usability. The W800 leans so hard into being old school that it forgets to be convenient. Customization is also limited, especially compared to the vast aftermarket options available for Harleys or Triumphs. Riders who want to make their bikes uniquely their own quickly find the W800's parts, catalog thin, and its mod potential restrictive. This is particularly disappointing for a bike that visually screams cafe racer or brat bike potential, but doesn't back it up with plug-and-play options or factory variations. Then there's the issue of branding. Kawasaki is known for high-revving ninjas, bulletproof cruisers, and rowdy Z-bikes, not for nostalgic twin-cylinder throwbacks. The W800 might have found an audience under a different badge or as part of a broader classic-themed push, but as a lone retro entry in Kawasaki's lineup, it feels like a half-hearted experiment, and buyers have noticed. But if you thought this Kawasaki struggled to find its identity, wait until you see the next bike on the list, a Yamaha that tried to beat the Touring Kings at their own game and lost control of the road entirely. Number 6. Yamaha Star Eluder. It set out to be the answer to Harley's dominance in the touring segment, an ambitious machine built to blend long-distance comfort with Yamaha's engineering precision. But despite the specs and the swagger, this heavyweight never quite made it past the starting line. It aimed to steal the spotlight from bikes like the Road Glide or the Challenger, but instead, it got lost in it. Underneath the bodywork is an air-cooled 1,854 cubic centimeter V twin engine that pushes out just under 90 horsepower and 126 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers sound respectable on paper, especially the torque, which delivers a strong initial pull. However, the overall performance doesn't quite match the bike's bulk. With a curb weight of 964 pounds, the Eluder is a serious machine to maneuver, especially at low speeds or in stop-and-go traffic. That heaviness alone turned off many potential buyers who expected something more balanced from Yamaha. The riding experience itself is a mixed bag. Comfort is there, plush seats, generous floorboards, and a decent amount of wind protection, but the suspension feels vague on rougher roads and the handling lacks the confidence that touring riders demand. It is not as refined or planted as something like a BMW R1250 RT, nor as composed in the corners as a Harley-Davidson Road Glide. And for a motorcycle priced at $22,499, those comparisons matter. Tech features were meant to be a major selling point. It comes with a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system, Bluetooth connectivity, navigation, and even heated seats. But riders expecting a polished interface were often disappointed. The system was functional but clunky, more of a novelty than a reason to buy. It did not deliver the seamless experience touring riders have come to expect, especially those used to the boombox setup in Harley-Davidson's touring lineup. And without the deep network of accessories and upgrades that Harley offers, the Eluder quickly reached its ceiling in terms of personalization. The styling, while clean, also left many riders scratching their heads. Yamaha tried to create a middle ground between a full-dress tourer and a stripped-down cruiser. But in doing so, it landed in a gray zone, too bulky for cruiser fans and too minimalist for full-on touring enthusiasts. The design did not resonate strongly with either crowd. Riders looking for a statement piece gravitated toward Indian or Harley. Riders who wanted sleek, modern function went with European brands. The Eluder, caught somewhere in between, struggled to build a loyal following. Then there's the brand perception. Yamaha is respected for its sport bikes, its reliability, and its innovation in the middleweight categories. But when it comes to the heavyweight bagger world, brand loyalty runs deep. Harley and Indian have cultivated decades of heritage, dealership culture, and community around their touring bikes. Yamaha, by contrast, stepped into the ring with a solid product but lacked the emotional pull, and riders noticed. Even die-hard Yamaha fans often opted for lighter models like the FJR 1300 when looking to tour. But while the Eluder may have stalled out under its own weight, the next bike on our list proves that even British brands can misfire when they push retro styling too far without delivering the ride to match. If this list has already surprised you, drop a like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's next. Number 5. Triumph Speed Twin 900. Retro motorcycles are hotter than ever, but not every vintage-inspired machine hits the mark. While Triumph has long been known for nailing the old-school aesthetic with modern reliability, this particular model seems to have missed the sweet spot. It tried to walk the line between daily rider and throwback tribute, but in the end, it struggled to convince either camp. Powering the bike is a 900 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine that produces 64 horsepower and 59 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers sound decent for a standard roadster, and the engine is smooth, torquey, and friendly for a range of riders. But for its weight class and price point, it fails to excite. Riders expecting a bit more punch, especially when compared to similarly priced alternatives, often walk away unimpressed. It's not underpowered, but it doesn't inspire. The performance is simply adequate. Weighing in at just over 430 pounds, the Speed Twin 900 is light enough to flick around town, but lacks the tight, athletic handling of more modern naked bikes. When you stack it up against machines like the Yamaha MT-07 or the Kawasaki Z900 RS, the difference becomes clear. Both of those competitors deliver sharper performance, more aggressive styling, and most importantly, stronger buyer engagement. The Triumph, by comparison, feels like a well-mannered gentleman in a room full of party animals. The price does not help either. With a starting tag of $10,495, this bike lives in a segment full of serious competition. And for that amount of money, buyers expect either a roaring performance advantage or a signature identity. The Speed Twin 900 offers neither. It tries to be a little bit of everything but ends up as nothing in particular. It's not classic enough for hardcore Bonneville fans. It's not aggressive enough for modern sport riders, and as a result, it often becomes a second-choice bike, something you buy if your first pick is unavailable. Even the styling, which is arguably the strongest part of the package, does not stand out like it should. It looks clean, minimalist, and tasteful, but it lacks the head-turning visual drama that Triumph nailed with the Thruxton or the Scrambler series. This one flies under the radar, and for many riders, that's not a good thing. They want a bike that says something about them. The Speed Twin 900 whispers. The rebranding from the original Street Twin also caused some confusion. Longtime Triumph fans knew what the Street Twin was and what it offered. The shift in name created unnecessary noise in an already crowded market, especially when there was no substantial overhaul to back it up. It made the model seem like it was trying to reinvent itself without really changing. An odd move for a company that usually takes brand heritage very seriously. And while Triumph's build quality remains solid and the ride is undeniably smooth, the lack of performance edge and the soft styling have left this bike stranded in no man's land. Dealerships are watching as inventory sits longer than expected, and despite strong support for the Bonneville family as a whole, this particular branch is not seeing the same love. And if that sounds like a missed opportunity, the next bike takes things one step further. A bold American design that tried to break the mold and ended up stuck between two worlds, unable to win over either one. Number 4. Indian FTR 1200. Bold, modern, and visually striking, this bike was supposed to be Indian's breakout hit with a younger, performance-hungry crowd. But despite all the right ingredients on paper, it ended up as one of the most misunderstood machines on the market. Designed to bring flat-track aesthetics into the streets, the FTR 1200 aimed to do what no other Indian had done before. Instead, it found itself in a tough spot, caught between tradition and innovation and rejected by both sides. At its heart is a 1,200 cubic centimeter V-twin engine that delivers an impressive 120 horsepower and 85 pound-feet of torque. That's more than enough grunt to put a grin on your face when you crack the throttle, and the engine has a satisfying growl that separates it from typical cruisers. On a twisty road or a quick blast through traffic, the FTR performs like a beast. It's responsive, torque, and agile, traits rarely associated with Indian's heritage machines, but that's exactly where the problem lies. Indian's core buyers, those who live for the low-slung rumble of the Chief or the Scout, didn't know what to make of it. They saw the upright stance, short tail, and aggressive lines and assumed it was trying too hard to be something it's not. Meanwhile, younger riders who might have been drawn to its power-to-weight ratio and unique style often turned away once they realized the FTR weighs nearly 580 pounds. Compared to sportier options like the Yamaha MT-09 or the Ducati Monster, the FTR just feels heavy. And while it was marketed as a city-savvy, backroad-burning hybrid, the ergonomics didn't fully support that mission. The riding position is tall and sporty, but not quite comfortable enough for long rides and not aggressive enough for track days. It lives in an awkward middle ground that makes it hard for riders to commit. Some complained about the heat from the rear cylinder during summer rides, while others found the suspension a bit too firm for everyday commuting. The starting price doesn't help the equation either. With a tag of $13,499, it competes with some of the best in the segment and loses out in key areas. Whether it's refinement, brand loyalty, or just practicality, many riders found themselves leaning toward competitors that offered a clearer sense of identity. Even after Indian introduced several variations, including the Rally and Carbon editions, the original FTR has not managed to carve out a consistent buyer base. Dealerships took a gamble, stocking up on what they believed would be the next big thing. Instead, the bike sat. Even with factory upgrades and tweaks over the years, the model remains a hard sell. It is the kind of motorcycle that everyone respects, but few people actually buy. In a market where clarity sells and emotional connection drives loyalty, the FTR got caught trying to be too many things at once. But if this hybrid street tracker missed the mark, just wait until you see the next motorcycle, one that had the engine, the tech, and the comfort, but still couldn't convince anyone to ride it home. Number 3. Honda Rebel 1100. It was supposed to be the ultimate evolution of a beginner-friendly cruiser, something powerful enough for seasoned riders, yet accessible enough for those stepping up from smaller machines. On paper, the Rebel 1100 had everything going for it. A proven engine, a low seat height, and the option for advanced tech like automatic shifting. But despite all that, it has quietly become one of the most stagnant bikes on showroom floors. At its core is a 1,084 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine lifted from the Africa Twin adventure bike. In the Rebel, it delivers 86 horsepower and 72 pound-feet of torque. The engine is smooth, torquey, and surprisingly responsive, especially in the low and mid-range. It pulls confidently around town and has enough punch for highway cruising. Paired with a 6-speed transmission or an optional dual-clutch automatic, it gives riders a choice between traditional shifting or a twist-and-go experience rare in the cruiser category. The bike weighs in at 487 pounds and features a 27.5-inch seat height, making it extremely manageable for shorter riders or those still building confidence. It also comes with LED lighting, a digital dash, selectable ride modes, and a modern chassis that offers impressive balance. The starting price of $9,399 puts it right in the sweet spot for riders looking for value and capability. But the Rebel 1100's downfall has never been about its mechanical package. It's all about identity. Cruiser fans drawn to Honda's other offerings like the Shadow Phantom or the Fury were put off by the minimalist bobber styling and muted paint schemes. The bike lacks the bold chrome, deep fenders, and long rake that traditional cruiser enthusiasts crave. It looks modern, but not in a way that connects emotionally with Honda's loyal base. And for new riders moving up from the Rebel 500, it does not deliver a dramatically different or more exciting experience. Just a bigger engine in a similar shell. Then there's the polarizing dual-clutch transmission. While some riders praise it for ease of use, others feel it robs the bike of its soul. Without a clutch lever or the tactile feeling of gear changes, the ride can feel sterile, especially to purists who enjoy the rhythm and involvement of manual shifting. Even with paddle shift options, many riders describe the DCT as too clinical for a bike that's supposed to deliver visceral analog fun. Competition has also been fierce. Bikes like the Indian Scout 60, Yamaha Bolt R-Spec, and even Harley's Iron 883 offer stronger brand loyalty, deeper aftermarket support, and a look that turns heads. The Rebel, by contrast, feels like a compromise. Modern, functional, but emotionally flat. Riders looking to join the cruiser world often skip it in favor of machines with more history or personality. Customization is another issue. While the platform is solid, the aftermarket ecosystem around the Rebel 1100 is still developing. Riders who want to make their bike unique are often limited to basic bolt-ons and cosmetic tweaks. It does not inspire the kind of community or garage culture that surrounds other midsize cruisers. And if this Honda fell flat despite its versatility, the next bike proves that even bringing back a legendary name isn't enough to guarantee success, especially when the performance doesn't live up to the legacy. Number 2. Suzuki Katana. Bringing back a legendary name is always a gamble, and Suzuki rolled the dice hard with the return of the Katana. Originally an icon of 1980s design and performance, the Katana name once stood for innovation, bold styling, and raw power. But the modern version, it has struggled to live up to that legacy, landing in dealerships with more nostalgia than substance, and quickly becoming one of the hardest bikes to sell. Beneath its sharp-edged bodywork lies a 999 cubic centimeter inline 4-cylinder engine borrowed from the previous generation GSX-R 1000. It delivers a robust 150 horsepower and 81 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers suggest serious performance, and in a straight line, the Katana can absolutely rip. But the riding experience tells a different story. Despite the engine's output, it feels more like a sport touring compromise than a true performance machine. The suspension is a bit soft. The ergonomics are awkward for aggressive riding, and the overall handling lacks the precision that riders expect at this level. The bike weighs in at 475 pounds and offers decent stability, but it doesn't inspire the confidence of rivals like the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX or the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT. The Katana feels caught between worlds. Not quite a full sport bike, not quite a comfortable tourer. For many riders, it ends up being neither exciting enough to thrill nor comfortable enough to commit to longer rides. Styling was supposed to be a major selling point. The angular lines, square headlight, and aggressive tank design are all throwbacks to the original Katana. But in practice, it's a love it or hate it look. Some riders appreciate the retro-futuristic vibe, while others see it as dated or overly busy. Compared to the cleaner lines of bikes like the Ducati Monster or the BMW R9T, the Katana's aesthetics just don't connect with a wide enough audience. Then there's the issue of price. With a starting tag of $13,499, it sits in a highly competitive segment filled with bikes that offer more tech, better ergonomics, and stronger resale value. While the Katana includes a digital display, traction control, and ABS, it lacks the modern rider aids found on similarly priced machines, such as cornering ABS, ride modes, and advanced suspension systems. For a bike banking on its nameplate, it feels surprisingly light on innovation. Brand support has not helped either. Suzuki's dealer network in the United States is thinner than most major manufacturers, and parts availability and service can be hit or miss depending on your location. This makes potential buyers wary, especially those planning to tour or customize their ride. The aftermarket for the Katana is also limited, further reducing its appeal to riders who enjoy personalizing their machines. In short, Suzuki brought the Katana back hoping to ignite old passions. But the result has been lukewarm at best. It's fast, yes. It's unique, absolutely. But it's also awkward, niche, and priced like a premium contender without delivering a premium experience. Riders who remember the original aren't seeing the magic in this reboot, and younger buyers are simply choosing more refined options. And if that feels like a disappointment, the next motorcycle on our list takes things to an entirely different level. A massive American touring machine that promised luxury, power, and dominance, but crashed into reality the moment buyers saw the price tag. Number 1. Indian Challenger Limited. It was built to be the crown jewel of Indian's touring lineup, a luxury bagger loaded with power, comfort, and enough tech to rival anything coming out of Milwaukee. The Challenger Limited wasn't just supposed to compete with Harley-Davidson's big touring bikes, it was supposed to beat them. But despite its ambition and feature-rich platform, the Challenger Limited has become one of the hardest motorcycles for dealers to move. And when you dig into the details, it's not hard to see why. At the center of the machine is Indian's Power Plus engine, a liquid-cooled 1,768 cubic centimeter V-twin producing 122 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque. Those are impressive figures for a full-size touring motorcycle, giving it plenty of muscle for highway pulls, steep grades, and loaded-up two-up rides. The 6-speed transmission is smooth, and the bike delivers strong acceleration even at cruising speed. Performance-wise, the Challenger Limited does not fall short. The bike's feature list is equally impressive. It comes with a touchscreen infotainment system, an adjustable windscreen, heated grips, premium audio, ride modes, cornering ABS, and even lean-sensitive traction control. The electronics suite alone puts it ahead of many of its rivals. Comfort is also top tier, with plush seating, floorboards, generous storage in its hard bags, and excellent wind protection for long-distance touring. But all of that comes at a price. Literally. The Challenger Limited starts at a staggering $30,000. For many potential buyers, that number was a hard pill to swallow, especially when Indian also offers the base Challenger at a significantly lower price, with most of the same performance and fewer frills. The limited version feels like a steep markup for chrome accents, paint upgrades, and luxury trim pieces that don't add significantly to the ride itself. Weight is another factor. The Challenger Limited tips the scales at 840 pounds. That's on par with other full-dress baggers, but for newer or smaller riders, it's a lot to handle. Even experienced riders have commented on the top-heavy feel at low speeds, which can be intimidating in urban traffic or during parking lot maneuvers. And unlike Harley-Davidson's touring lineup, which benefits from an enormous network of parts, accessories, and dealer support, Indian is still playing catch-up in those areas. Another challenge is brand loyalty. Harley-Davidson riders are famously committed to their brand, and while Indian has made strides in recent years, it has not yet built the same kind of intergenerational rider base. Many riders are hesitant to switch brands, especially when they know that customization options, resale value, and dealership familiarity are all stronger with Harley. For those sitting on the fence, the price difference just isn't enough to justify making the leap. The styling, while bold and aggressive, also divides opinion. Some riders love the Challenger Limited's modern fairing and angular bodywork, while others find it too radical compared to the classic curves of bikes like the Road Glide Special. It's a design that tried to move the bagger category forward, but not everyone was ready to come along for the ride. And that wraps up our countdown of 7 motorcycles. American dealerships are trying to dump as soon as possible. Have you seen any of these machines collecting dust at your local dealer? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the deep dive, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more breakdowns. Ride safe!